Well, hello everyone. So glad you're with me today. You could join me and we could spend this time together talking about the things of the Lord and talking about what's going on around here today. You can notice, especially if you're on Facebook, you can tell I'm in a different location. This is one of our offices. This is not my office. Mine's being redone, but this is one of the offices. And you can kind of tell, especially on Facebook, on Instagram, not so much. But we're in one, and we got a new internet connection up here that we're watching closely. So we're so glad we could be together. And I've been thinking about what's going on. We see some people. Yeah, some people are coming on. Give you just a second to come on. And kind of a busy day around here, especially when you have a holiday and the offices are closed, and we have a holiday, and people don't want to work. They want to play. Fortunately, I keep everything running on that day. I worked anyway, but now we're doing catch up today, and so we had an interesting day around here. We had the paint. We were redoing our basement here, which is where my office was, where we were, and it was kind of a surprise. We didn't know we were going to do it. We had the attack of the cat. All of a sudden, last week we went downstairs, and Brooke went down, Zion went down, and they came back up and said, "There's something wrong down here. There's something smells bad down here." And we've gone through that before, but this was the real attack of the cat. And we finally figured out that the older cat, Charco, he decided to go and make that his territory, and he marked it really, really well until it just got so bad. So we figured we're going to have to do something fast. So we started making move on it and deciding we're going to have to get the carpet out. And fortunately, we did that. We were able to do that. I see Nathan's on here. He helped us. And we got these painters that are all booked up, right? Everybody's booked up. But these guys had a couple of weeks open. And if we didn't grab them right away, they weren't going to be open at all. So we grabbed them right away, and they came at 7 o'clock this morning and are staying until 5 for the next 2 weeks. So we had to get in there and tear out everything, and get it all ready to go and move everything out. So we did the declutter, the carpet, everything off the walls, all that kind of stuff. So that's why we relocated. So we're relocating. Internet holds up here, and sounds okay, looks good enough, and we'll get it all set up then. So anyway, we're glad we could be together. And you'll notice the title today. The title today is "I Am Not a Fixer Upper." And a lot of people, they flip homes and they fix them up. And I don't know what a fixer upper is to you. I've never done it, so I don't know. But I just know what it means to me. If somebody says it's a fixer upper, and they're going to, go and fix it up and sell it, to me, that means they're going to do the minimum that they need to do to then resell it. They're not going to go and make it a castle on the inside. They're going to go and, probably carpet, paint, maybe some plumbing, but they're going to do the minimum because they just want to sell it. They're going to fix it. So the next person says, "This is good enough. Anything left over, we can fix ourselves maybe." And it can turn it, everybody's happy. They sell it for a good price. Everybody buys it for a good price. And that's my picture of a fixer upper. Maybe if you're doing it for yourself, you're going to go a little higher grade, but most of them I see, or they flip them, they're going to go, builder's grade and all that kind of stuff. So I was thinking about that and watching what was going on around here yesterday and over the weekend and everything like that. And I thought about ourselves and our spiritual walk as I saw things tearing up and moving out and everything. And so we had to get down to as far as we could go. With this cat situation, we had to get down to down to everything. And as Nathan, like I said, was there, and others came to help. And we got down to we got the carpet out, baseboard, Clorox, right? And tearing everything off the walls. There had to be like nothing left but bare bones, just the bare bones structure, so we could then start over. So it was more than just paint or whatever, and just minimum. We're going to make it right. We're going to do it right from the very beginning. So I was thinking about that and thinking spiritually. So hi, Janet and Darren and Julie. I said Nathan already, and Mark. Hi, everybody, people coming in. So I was thinking about that spiritually, what it means. And I remember scripture. The first time I preached this thing, it was like a riot. We had a lot of people, and it just, I think it was at a conference or something. And I did it in our church, and I did it at a conference of pastors, and it just caused a riot. They'd never thought about it. And so I'm going and I'm talking about revival and what God does and the process of God. And all of a sudden I read and preached a pretty good hard message about it. And from Jeremiah chapter 1, Jeremiah gets called of God, and God says, I put my words in your mouth. All right. And so everybody, people dream about it. They want to be a preacher. They want to be a pastor. They see themselves up in front of people. And he says, I put my words in your mouth. That sounds pretty good. And today I appointed you over nations and kingdoms. And that sounds good too. All right. About time, right? Evie's come on, right? About time, right, Evie, that I get my place. I'm going to talk to kingdoms and nations and kings. And God's given me the words. And then listen to what he said. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to uproot, tear down, destroy, and overthrow. What? So I said into him, especially this pastors' conferences, I don't know, 500, 600, 700 pastors there. And I laid into him. And I, basically saying, we haven't done anything right. We all wanted the word of God, and we went in there and we did it all backwards. Because look at this. So I've appointed you over nations, king. I've appointed you to preach. I put my words in your mouth. And look at the end of it. It says, uproot, tear down, destroy, overthrow. And then the end of it is to build. There's Eleonora, to build and to plant. So where do we start as pastors, leaders, evangelists, or just in the church, right? Youth leader, whatever. We dig in, and where do we start? We start with the build. We go into build. We go into plant. And we don't start where God started. God started, he says, listen, you got to, if I'm going to get a real thing going here, you got to realize where people are, who they are, what's going on inside of them. And so he said, Jeremiah, you're going to have to go in and you're going to have to uproot, tear down, destroy, and overthrow. And they didn't like that. And I hit that with those pastors, and I said, no wonder we can't have revival. We're wanting to go in and be heroes. I put my word, okay, I'm going to build, I'm going to plant, and God began to say, you got a message on there. I can't read it though on your Instagram. I can't read it. You can read it. Maybe it's something important. It might be the president or something watching. Good. Well, good for you. And so I told him, I said, we're backwards. I said, the reason we don't have a move of God and revival is because we're not going about it God's way. God's bringing here repentance and revival and building, bringing back. And he says, but we don't want to do it God's way. We don't want to uproot, tear down, destroy, and overthrow and tear this thing down. And so I would have, I put off our basement. I put it off. That cat's been sneaking down there. We had doors and gates and everything, so he couldn't get down there. But somehow he always got down there, and he learned just recently to push this door open. That's what I figured out. And he got down there, and I knew it was bad. We knew it was bad. We knew the worst part about it was, and I kept putting it off. I thought, well, maybe we just put down a floor, because we plan. Okay, one of these days we'll just put down a new floor, and we'll just put the carpet. No, we don't have to do anything else. And the baseboard can stay, the paint can stay, the light, everything on it. We don't have to do anything. Just put down a new floor, and then if he goes down there and does his thing, we'll just clean it up. And so it was minimum. I'm just going to do the minimum to get by. And I think spiritually, that's what we do. And as personally too, not just as pastors and leaders in churches, but even in our personal walk with God, we're minimalist. We just, okay, I'm going to be a Christian and do it, but okay, God, what's the minimum I need to do to walk with you? Or in some people's cases, what's the minimum I have to do to get saved? Or worse, what's the minimum I have to do to go to heaven? Just give me the minimum. Or as I taught a couple of weeks ago at our church, just tell me the rules. They say, do you have a personal relationship with Jesus? And then they say, yeah, now just tell me the rules. How far can I go to the edge of the cliff without falling off? You know what I'm saying? I bet. And so then we realized this isn't going to get it. It was bad. And we said, you know, if we're going to do it, we're going to have to do it right. So there we go. We got people going, and everything off the walls, off the floor, and on the baseboard, and they're going down there and you know, scraping and redoing, and we're going to come fill these holes, you know, just everything. It just bare bones. And hi, Chris. And so I began to realize, I saw that, and I saw that whole stuff coming out. And not only that, it wasn't just that, it's all the junk. All the junk came out. You know, it wasn't just the carpet came out, all the junk. There's Jim, and all the junk. I mean, they're carrying out stuff, you know, and some of it I'm thinking, like, I've had that for years, but time for me to say bye-bye to it, you know, and there out it goes, and loading it up in trucks, and stuff's going away, junk's going away, stuff I'll never use, stuff I don't need. And I thought about that, and I thought spiritually, that's where I think a lot of people, either they make a mistake, or they're shocked if it happens, or they just avoid it. And I think there's probably avoidance more than anything. And I know from my own personal walk, that I had to get to that place. And then I watch others, since I've been there a lot of times, you can kind of tell people who have been there and who haven't, who've been to that place where they met with God, and God just uprooted, tore down, destroyed, overthrew everything in them. And then he began to build and plant. And it's a rare person. And I see a lot of young ones, you know, people coming up in ministry, and they want to have great ministries, and young might be 40 now, 50, 40, 45. But anyway, even or younger. And they want to have great ministries. They want to be successful. They're great preachers. And not just that, but, you know, touch the world or whatever, touch the city. But they don't know how to go about it, because they don't want to go through this process, and they've got a lot of stuff, just a lot of stuff in the way. And so they don't understand, this is what God said, you got to go in there and do that. And it's not just Old Testament. It's not just Jeremiah. You know, God told, or John the Baptist went in, and when he began to preach, you know, he's leading the way to get him prepared for Jesus. And he comes in and he says, well, I'm going to tell you something. And he's talking to religious people. And he said, the axe is already laid to the root. So you can picture that, somebody chopping down a tree or whatever, you know. And he says, the axe is already there. You don't have to ask it to go there. It's already there. And we're going to chop this thing down where? At the root. So it's very much picturesque, as John the Baptist is almost like Jeremiah said, uproot. We're going to get it down low. We're going to cut this thing out. If we're going to get what God wants to have done, I see Valerie, if we're going to get this thing done, we're going to have to chop it down lower than maybe we're comfortable with, or maybe we even thought about doing. And I think a lot of people, you know, miss that a little bit. And so we know the scriptures so well, you know, where when we become Christians, we know the phrase, right? We become a new creation. And I think that could be deceptive, because we think, well, come on, Pastor Steve, you know, I'm a new creation when I become in Jesus, right? So bang. And it'd be nice if it worked that way. So legally, right? Legally, absolutely. Legally, in the work of Jesus Christ, the atoning Jesus Christ, we are legally counted as new, right? Because we are born again. And when you're born again, you're born new. You're born new, right? But we have to see ourselves, as Paul said, you know, he was talking to the Corinthians, and he says, you know, I'd like to talk to you as mature, but I can't, because you're still babies. I got to talk to you like babies, you know? Even Jesus talked to the disciples and said, I'd like to tell you more, but I can't. You wouldn't be able to handle it. You wouldn't be able to handle all the stuff that I would like to tell you. But Paul said, you're still babies. You're babes. And I'd like to talk to you. I'd like to give you the meat, but I can't, because you're babies. And so, though, were they new creations? Yeah, they were as new could be. When they got born again, they're new, but they were baby new. And so if they didn't do something about that, what are they going to grow up at? They're going to hang on. They're going to grow up all that baby stuff. And then if they grow up with all that baby stuff, then of course, then eventually they're going to have to go through some processes. And sometimes we go through it several times. We can grow up. And have you ever got to that point where you say, there, finally, I made it to a place where I can start relaxing and just worshiping God, and you do for a season, and then next thing you know, there's the uproot and tear down, and you got to start over again. But with me, my story, it was not a mild thing at all. It was a dramatic, explosive thing that I had to do it or I wasn't going to live. And I thank the Lord for it. It was not fun, and it was there was no path like God told Abraham, go and you'll end up where I tell you to go. Just go where I tell you to go, and when you get there, you'll know. It was like that. I had no idea what was going on. I just knew I had to follow and do, and that my life was not in circumstances. My life was not in the church. My life was not in preaching. My life was finding this man, Jesus. And, I'm telling you at my age right now, and that's been some years ago, I'm finding him all over again. You think, well, you got that. And now I'm finding him all fresh again on another level. Thank the Lord. And this tearing down that's happening and this uprooting that's happening now is a lot different because it was so complete back then. It went so far down and deep to the root back then that now it's not near as painful as it was now. It's more of a joy because I understand it now, and I'm giving way to it. Then I didn't understand it. And so, yes, legally we're a new creation, but experientially, or they say in reality, we're still babes, we're still learning. And, Paul write, he says, we are his workmanship, created to do good works. But workmanship, does that give you the clue? Workmanship doesn't mean it's instantly done. I guess it's okay, Zion, I guess it's okay to make this reference a Disney reference. I've never been real big on Disney because there's just so much magic in it. I just, can't they do one without it? Yeah. Can't they do one? And that's even when I was a kid, and some of it was old when it's been around a while, but it's the old Cinderella. We want the bippity boppity boo with the wand, bang, now you're no longer a pumpkin, or was it a pumpkin? I don't know, whatever, and bang, everything, the mice become horses or something like that. We want that. New creation, bang. And we're sort of there's Jenny. And so we're sort of like, new creation, bang, I'm a new creation, everything. I got it all now. But we become his workmanship, a craft, his craftsmanship. And some have thought, and I think maybe it's true, that we become his workmanship is like he takes and bends and twists like furniture, and wicker furniture, and turns it or just a furniture maker, until it's just right. And then Paul, of course, and references that we also are and he's the potter and we're the clay. That's also there, right? And I didn't ever do that when I was in college. I had a friend, I'll just say, that was an art major, and she worked in that clay, and then she'd throw that thing. Then she always wanted me to try it, and I kind of did a couple times. And it whirl around you through water, and you put your hands on it. I think we do that in our school. Did you ever do that, Zion, in our school? Where they did do pottery sometimes in our. I didn't do art. In our private school, at least some academy, though, some of them do. I never have done it much. But he says, God is the potter, you're the clay. And he says, doesn't he have the right to form you the way he wants to? And then if he doesn't like it, throws it away and throws another one down there and starts forming you again until he gets what he wants, right? Till he gets what he wants. And so we see ourselves as that. And if you're going to have pottery and clay and molding and workmanship and growing up and no longer be a babe, this is something that takes time. And if you're an adult, which you become an adult and then you become a Christian, you got a lot, like me, you got a lot of clutter in your house like I had here. And I said, well, We're going to have to uproot a lot of this and tear it down. And so when I began to talk about this, I began to think about it and think, well, I'm not a fixer upper. Well, I don't know what that means to you, but to me, I thought I can't be a minimal, just get by guy, minimal, where you just come in and slap some paint on, maybe a few fixtures, plumbing fixtures, and maybe some new carpet, and you don't touch anything else. You touch as little as possible, because all you want to do is pass it along to somebody else and make it look good. You just want to look good to somebody else. And that's what a lot of us do in our Christianity, right? We just become fixer-uppers so that we look good at church, or we look good to society, or even just look good at home. We look good, but inside, as Jesus said, inside we're not right. Inside we're he said the Pharisees, they're dead men's bones, but he also told them there's all kinds of corruption and evil. But outside we look pretty good. So we become a fixer-upper. We look good on the outside. And so the people, people buying the house, we hope they don't notice the crack in the wall, or we hope people don't notice the cracks in us, right? Because all we did is we let Jesus just do us as a fixer-upper, get by, minimum Christianity. But that's not what God told Jeremiah. He says, listen, go for it. And I spent my whole summer doing that. My whole summer, a new, fresh, digging in, uprooting. And because I went through it before, it's been really, really fun and pleasant and great to do this the second time. But I see the younger ones, I see them, instead of allowing themselves to be uprooted and torn down and then built and planted, they're just hanging on, trying to prove that they are established and good, and trying to prove, hey, I'm somebody, I know what I'm doing, don't correct me. Instead, they just need to say, give in to the potter and let him decide, and just start over and humble yourself, get down as low as possible, and then build up again. Because if he builds the house, if he builds you up, you don't have to, right? If he's building the house, then you don't have to. And that's what I found out many, many years ago. So anyway, I hope that means something to you. Go beyond that. Don't become God's fixer-upper and kind of just go the minimum. Let him do what Jeremiah said. Just let's uproot, tear down, destroy, overthrow, and then we can build, and then we can plant, get all the clutter out, and we'll go from there. Till next time, bye-bye.